Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are joining me, and welcome to Season 1, Episode 4 of the S1 Tom Chat. I would like to welcome today two fabulous people who I've met on the speaking circuit and while working in India. We have Vandana Verma and Sandeep Singh. Hello, folks. How are you?
Hi, Tom. Hi. Good. You're good. Glad to be here.
Excellent. Vandana, how are you?
I'm good, Dom. How are you? Glad to be part of the
Yeah,
show.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, very good. Thank you. Very good. Sandeep, you might have to put some energy in, man. It's,
Yeah, absolutely.
I know you may have, I don't know, you young people waking up at, mid-afternoon or whatever, and, all that
Yeah.
sort of thing. I don't know, but, so I met both of you through, I think Sandeep through BSides and Null. And Vandana, I seem to recall meeting you at Null in Goa. Was that when we first met?
So I first met you at BSides Delhi itself. That's when I
Oh,
first
it's
met
BSides
you.
there. Okay,
Yep.
right. Okay. I see you everywhere, and that's the thing actually. So Sandeep, when I was doing the research for the show, and I was looking you up on LinkedIn, and I saw that you left university in 2011. You volunteered, was it for OWASP in 2012, and then
Yeah.
Null. You became a chapter a member and organising member, and then you were part of the organising committee for BSides Delhi, which is how we first met. I think back in, was it 2016? I think something like that.
So I don't know if you remember, but we also met very early in 2013 in one of the Null meetups. So you had come to India and you had registered for
That's
one of
right.
the yeah.
It was in the
So
Times of India building, wasn't it?
yep, exactly.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yes. Yeah. Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
that was a long time ago.
Yes.
But Vandana, I was, I looked, I was thinking, oh my God, Sandeep, he's volunteers so much, literally from the moment he left university. And then I looked at your LinkedIn profile, and it's like, Sandeep, you need to up your game a little bit,
Yeah.
because Vandana, I'm not sure there isn't anything that she isn't involved in. So not only you worked at Accenture, which obviously takes a huge amount of time out of anybody's time. You worked at Time Inc. You're now at IBM, big consulting company. Obviously, you do more volunteering than anything else. Security Phoenix, InfosecKids, BSides Delhi, OWASP. I mean, you're on the global board of OWASP, for instance. Huge responsibilities. And what you haven't seen, because we've cut it, is you're also homeschooling at the moment. So you've got kids. You had to duck out to help with your kids, etc. I mean, really, I have to ask: do your employers know that you don't do any work for them? Because all you're doing is volunteering and actually, to be blunt, doing a massive amount of work for the industry in our community.
So that's the tricky thing. Now people think that I work for these companies and not IBM. If
Yeah,
I talk about
that's right. Well,
IBM,
exactly.
yeah, a lot of people used to think that I work full time for OWASP. Like they were asking me that, can you refer me at OWASP? And then I had to specifically tell that my day job is with IBM and OWASP is my volunteering work. But let me tell you a secret, which maybe you've never got to know or I've never told anyone. That Sandeep was the one person who actually introduced me to the communities. Like he was pushing me to join these communities and
I can hear you being called in the background, right? It's. Are you sure that wasn't Sandeep?
yeah. Yeah.
So I was about to.
Sorry, Tom.
I think no, that's quite all right. We're going to keep rolling because I think this is
Yep.
actually a very accurate reflection of, to be honest with you, of a lot of people's lives at the moment, and someone like
Yep.
Vandana who's doing a
Absolutely.
huge amount. But
Right.
actually, it's so nice. It's so nice to actually have quite literally got the two superheroes of the Indian infosec community in front of it and global infosec community, because you've got one who introduced the other, who then goes on to do huge amounts of work and so on. I mean, really, it's so impressive, but so needed. Uh, I remember doing the that opening keynote at BSides Delhi in 2017 on the topic of community and why it's so important. So why do you volunteer so much? And Sandeep, let me ask you first. Why do you volunteer so much in the InfoSec community?
Yeah, so like you rightly mentioned, right after I completed my university, I started my first job with Dell, and immediately after 6 months, I started looking for like-minded people who kind of are working in the same space. And a lot of people say that mentoring is about like you teach technical stuff, but I was looking for people who would guide me or point me to the right directions and to know more about the space. I was really fascinated about the whole infosec space. So I thought like right
Mm,
immediately after a few months, I figured that one of the best ways, just like there is a famous saying from Richard Feynman, is that if you want to learn something, just teach it, and that's how you learn it. So that's how I actually started getting involved, and I started like volunteering more because I wanted to learn. So my purpose of volunteering was to learn myself, and then eventually, I kind of felt a responsibility towards more people, like because the way I learned, I wanted more people to get involved and kind of find that mojo in the kind of community. And because there are because the
yeah.
infosec space is booming, there are millions of people coming in the infosec space, but most of them kind of just get done with their kind of day job and just go and kind of do their other stuff. But if you just put a slight bit of extra effort, you can go a long way in just making your own lives better as well, your career better as well, and helping others as well. That was one of my kind of key drivers towards kind of volunteering in this space.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, isn't it? The more
Yep.
you help other people, the more you helping yourself. You're
Yep.
making your own luck. You're making your own network.
Yep.
I
Yep.
know Sachin Behil, a mutual friend of ours, and he
Yep.
said that the moment he started volunteering for B-Sides, his
Yep.
network just exploded, and the opportunities that were open to him were immense. And that was purely through I want to do something for the community. It was
Yes.
initially a
Absolutely.
selfless act that actually allows you to move in broader circles within your industry. So Vandana,
Absolutely.
what was it that really drove you to take on quite so much?
So when I was first introduced to OWASP and null community, I saw a lot of like-minded people. That yes, there are so many people whom I can connect with, and that was one push. And after that, when I was asked to be a leader for OWASP Bangalore, that was a showstopper. Wherein I arranged a lot of sessions, connected with a lot of people, went to different conferences, connect about that, and then shared the information which I had and which they had to share. So it was like a mutual connect that was happening, and that was driving me to do a lot of things. And then things kept on coming, and I felt this is something which really feel like doing, and this is the place where I belong.
Mm,
So just went on with
mm.
the flow.
Yeah, it's funny. I recounted in another episode that it was only when I moved from IT into information security that I suddenly felt like I had a career, that I had my future was mapped out in front of me, and I found a group of like-minded people. And I think it was almost a little bit of a seminal moment for me of this. I have found my people. This is my place.
Yep.
Was there a moment for you, for both of you, that made you think, I'm here, I'm in the right place now, Vandana?
I think there was no exact moment that I could think of wherein I saw that, okay, this is the place where I want to be. But I think there are a lot of instances which were happening, which were making me feel that, yes, this is the place where I want to stay. These are the people I want to connect for a longer time. And when I am doing my work, after that also, I can contribute to the initiatives which are there for the community, for the people who actually need help. Because when I came into the IT world or cybersecurity world, there was no such community that I was aware of. And there was nothing where people could say that, okay, this is the place where we will learn new things. So I had no clue. At least for first 4.5 years, it was like a whole jungle of things that were there, and I had no clue which way to head. It was just the office, and that was it. But then when the introduction happened to these communities, that's when I realized that it's such a huge space, and there is a world outside my organization, outside India, outside my comfort zone. And I think
Mm.
that was the place which I could say, but no specific instance that I can remember of.
It was something you just sort of gradually moved and flowed into. And
Yeah.
I'm going to pick up on some one point of that slightly later on. But Sandeep, what about you? Was there a moment that made you think this is where I need to be?
Yeah, so just to add to what you were mentioning earlier, feeling kind of, sense of belonging. So till date, most of my friends are from InfoSec community, both in the local community and outside India and throughout the world. So that was kind of, a key marker. Like whenever you can work in a domain and make friends there, which can go beyond your work life, is basically a moment which defines that yes, this is a place you want to be, because I am a personal believer that it's not just infosec. Maybe after 10 years I might end up doing something totally different, because that's life. You want to try different things at different times, but this is what you want to carry, like personal relationships, friendships, and how much you've helped others, what they kind of learn from that, and then do like a tickling effect. They kind of keep teaching others, they help others, and then it kind of multiplies and the networking effect happens. And then in finance we say that till date people are like masters, phds, but a lot of people don't understand the kind of compounding effect that happens on money after some time. So the same thing happens when people teach others, when people help others, when people let others grow, and when people groom others. So that's really important. That was one of, like, when I started volunteering in the community, I got that help, and that was like a defining moment, that because others have helped me move up, I need to make sure that I need to help others move up as well. That's how kind of
Mm.
the world would be a better place if not. Like, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. You almost don't want other people to have to go through what you went through, as it were.
Exactly.
Not that it
Yeah.
was unpleasant, but
Yeah.
the easier you can
Yep.
make that sort of introductory process, the better. But it's funny you talk about your friends being in InfoSec. I remember I think it was back in 2010, 2011, something like that. I joined Twitter for the first time for
Mhm.
InfoSec, and even my handle at the time was had a security thing in it.
Yeah.
And I had to change it in the end because, frankly, what had become what was my business security profile was just a
Mhm.
whole bunch of friends that we were
Yes.
just,
Yes.
messing about and
Absolutely.
with a bit of infosec stuff in there,
Yeah.
and it changed really, really very
Yeah.
quickly.
Yep.
But
Absolutely.
Vandana, I want to come back to something you said around when you first joined, and spent sort of 5 years in the office, as it were, and just focusing on the office. And I want to bring up some of the other work you do. So you do a lot of volunteering for the sort of women in infosec groups and introducing, ostensibly minorities, etc., into infosec, etc. Was that born out of the similar sort of feeling? Did you feel that it was a difficult industry to get into, and you wanted to make it easier for other women, for instance?
I would say yes. I'll tell you a story behind it. So I joined OWASP, I joined Null, and I met him. So there was one instance wherein, so OWASP was coming up with women in AppSec. So
Yeah.
he told me that there is something called Women in AppSec is coming up, so you might want to try. I gave it a try. I came on board on the Women in AppSec board, and that's when, after a few months itself, I was asked to take up InfosecGirls. So either I could have taken it or I've left it there. So
Yeah.
with Women in AppSec, it was something which was very, very new, and a lot of things were like very different for me. So, like, where to start off, what to do, all those things were just juggling there. And
Yeah.
that's when infosec girls, I picked it up. There were a lot of things which were just stalling there. So I thought, let's try with normal meetups. And it started with that, like, let's connect, get to know each other. There'll be more like us people who'll be there, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of ideas that will come up. So on the meetups, there were very, very few women who used to turn up, like very
Mm.
less. And then we thought,
Yeah, yeah.
why can't we go online? So we went online, and there was a huge crowd on the online conferences. And then we had speakers almost every week. That was fun. Like, not getting any speaker to now speaker every week. And most of the speakers were like first time speakers, or there were speakers who were international speakers who were coming on board. So it was like a combination of that. And when that was a big hit, we thought, why can't we have chapters around India? So we started with Bangalore, Pune, Chennai, Pune, Mumbai, Delhi, and so many other places. Now we have 25 chapters across the globe. So it was like one small thing led to another, and then more people started joining hands, and it felt okay. Now I'm not alone. There are more people to do it. If I am not there, there are other people who can do it, who can take it forward. But there has to be something. There has to be one person who can push themselves and
Yeah.
to others. Sometimes you need one person who's not standing in front of you or behind you, just one person who's sitting or standing besides you, so that you feel
Yeah.
okay, there is one person who is there, we can take care of things. So
So do you think changing it to online was actually one of the key aspects of the success? Was it because quite literally women did not want to go to what was a male orientated physical environment, and just felt
uh,
more comfortable, at least initially, going just online?
I think that was one aspect, but sometimes what happens is, like, for me, what I felt was that spending some time over the weekend morning, was not so easy, because you have to juggle family, you have to juggle other things, and then you have to juggle office and so many other things.
Right.
Like, there are so many responsibilities that you have, and I think it's just not for women; it's for men also. So that was one thing. But then when it went online, and that too on a Saturday evening, especially for Indian women, I would say, because in that time when online was there, because it was live stream, so men were also joining. So I wouldn't say that it's just women,
Okay,
and
okay. No, that's
yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah.
because it's open for all. That's what openness is all about. Like, if it's open for all, but mostly we were trying to push the first time speakers so that they can come on board, speak about their experience, and meet the experienced speakers and professionals who are part of the industry. And that became a hit, I would say, because it was like after work, almost nearing the dinner or after dinner, so that you can just come and listen to it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's funny you should say open for all. I've got a funny story about that from Nullcon. So it was Nullcon that it was 2016, maybe 17. I can't even remember now, but a few years back, and there was a talk that was being done, and it looked really interesting, and it was on the sort of a women in infosec track, and so I, toddled along to it, opened the door, and the security guard like stepped in front of me and said, "You can't come in." Why not? He said, "This is women only. Out." So, okay. I didn't realise. so, so I don't know. But but I think it's very true. I do think a lot of men in the industry, etc., they'll see the sort of women in infosec handle and think, "Oh, well, I can't." They're excluding me, and they're not at all. It's not at all. It's just that it's primarily focused at, women. May be organised at certain, different times or mediums or whatever, but of course men are welcome. But I think that's really important. It's an important point to put across. So yeah. So why, Sandeep? Why should other people get involved? I mean, you two are obviously propping up the entire Indian infosec volunteer community between the two of you. Why should other people get involved when we've got you two doing it?
Yeah, because we want to get retired. So,
Yeah, that's right.
no, but on a serious note, I mean, so it's a mix of things. You do technical work, and you have to find the right time. Like, initially when you get introduced to the communities, my suggestions to people, to newcomers, is always that first go and attend and absorb and learn from what people have to teach and what people have to say. Then, once you've felt comfortable, once you've picked up that learning space, it's time for you to kind of make sure that others who are entering the space, they also feel the same way. Okay, you have to just take out some time of yours. Of course, infosec work especially is demanding. Things keep changing every day. You have new attacks, and these days every day you have new breaches. So
Mm.
it's demanding, and it takes a toll on like mental health and everything. We all talk about it a lot. But when you have like a community, and when we say community, it's just people who are interested in the same thing, or who have similar interests. So when you see others struggling through the same process, when you see others taking different approaches, when you see others trying out different things, it helps. So that's one part of being in the community. Why you need to be in the community and why you need to volunteer is that if you don't volunteer, then others won't get benefit, just like you got benefit.
Mm.
Okay, and
Yeah.
of course, a lot of people think about volunteering as just being leaders, or just being like, doing the shine, like again, the glamorous stuff. And this is one thing that I always talk about, is that even if you're doing something in the back end, which takes like a lot of your hours, but that doesn't show you up in front of like big stages and stuff, it's still a lot of contribution. It's a big contribution.
Yeah.
And you should be clear about like, what do you want to do you want to contribute? The fame, the glamour is all side effects of it. Side effects are not
Yes.
always bad. It's good as well. Sometimes it's bad as well. So you shouldn't be
Yeah.
going really kind of striving for those side effects, that I want like fame. Of course you want return is something that you get organically as well. So volunteering and making sure things happen. Just Tom, you know it better, like when we do BSides, and doing a BSides event, like one speaker coming on the stage and talking for 30 minutes, there is like hundreds of hours of effort that has gone
Yeah.
behind it. So
Yeah.
you're going for those kind of things which are not really glamorous, and making, because those keep you humble, those keep you on the ground, and those kind of push you to do more for everyone. So just, I mean, like, mix of these things, I would say.
Yeah. So, Vandana, what advice would you give to somebody who maybe is a little, well, to be blunt, a little shy, a little socially awkward, just feels a little bit overwhelmed by even trying to do any of this? What's what advice would you give to someone like that who wants to contribute, just doesn't feel they've got nothing, doesn't feel like they have anything to contribute, and actually doesn't, is nervous about it?
There is one thing which is like the first step, which is the hardest one, wherein you feel, no, I won't be able to do it. I won't be able to connect with the people. So I've seen like myself, like for me, first step was not so easy. But then after that, you feel, yes. Once it happens, you feel, yes, you can do it. And that's how the volunteering work starts. And once you start liking it, you start spreading the word, you start connecting with people. And for anyone who feels shy, just try it once. Try and connect with people. Try and connect with the people who are part of the community. You'll see the energy that they have. Not me or him,
Mm,
but anyone. They have a different kind of aura where they keep um, when they speak about the community. They have a different smile. They have a different charm on their face. Because this is something which they can relate to, which this is something which makes them content. Like for me, I feel happy doing all these things.
mm. I mean, I always say that even if you don't think you've got the skills to be a speaker, for instance, and and actually you probably have, you just haven't explored it a little bit, or you think, oh well, I couldn't be a leader, I'm not very good at talking to people, whatever. Maybe you're a photographer. Maybe you like
Absolutely.
graphic design in your in your in your spare time. Maybe you could design the logo. Maybe you could walk around taking photographs of people for it. Maybe you're pretty good with a video camera.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe you know somebody, or your family owns a printing company or something. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You can look around you and see what other things you can bring to it. Maybe you don't like talking to people, but you're really good at lifting heavy objects. Well, there's a lot of chairs to be moved around in a conference, right?
Exactly.
It
Yeah.
doesn't
True.
matter what you bring something, and that's one less thing for the organisers to have to worry about. I volunteered for BSides Bristol back in 2019, And for 2 days, in the morning, I was basically saying, hello, welcome to BSides Bristol. What's your name, please? So I did that for 2 hours in the morning. And then I sat in one of the tracks for 2 days, pointing a camera at someone, and that was it. That was all I did. I got to see some great talks, and I actually remained friends with a couple of people I met on there. But that contribution meant that someone else didn't have to do it. Someone else went off and did something else. Technically, I could have helped with the finances. I could have helped with the management and the running. That wasn't required. What was required was somebody to point a camera at someone, for 8 times a day for an hour at a time. And I think that's the bit that people miss. Oh, well, what can I do? Well, if you can point a camera, you can do anything you want. So it's important to understand that you bring something. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah. And just to add to that, Tom, like one of the things we keep saying is that whenever you're part of a group or community, all you need to think is that are you adding value to that group? So just add value in any form. And another tangent to it is that a lot of people, when they grow in the community or in the industry, let's say become a CISO, for example, or something like that, they would, they can serve as an inspiration in form of like, even being a CISO, you don't hesitate or you don't shy away from doing work, which is like just holding the camera and kind of shooting other people, or like kind of taking photographs and stuff. So that brings that humbleness in people, that yes, any work is not every work is important, and I can kind of contribute in any manner possible and add value. So that's just to kind of add.
Absolutely. So, do you remember the first time you stood on stage and did a presentation, Vandana? How was that for you?
I was dead nervous. I remember my first external presentation was in college. Like that was one debate competition. I almost froze. And the second was at Null, Bangalore, wherein I just had to do the news bites. That's about it. That was way back in 2013-14, and that's
Yeah.
about it. And then I was not looking at anyone in the room. Like I was that much nervous. So
I can't imagine it. I can't even begin to imagine it.
yeah, but I was, and I still remember that day. I still have those memories. That day, okay, that was the day when I started actually in the community, and I was nervous. That's how it started. But then when you take your first step, after that, it's just a journey, and it can be started off as just being there, learning from people. Like for me, I did not give my first presentation till I was there in the community for like 6-7 months. I was going every month, but I did not have the guts to go ahead and say that, oh, I want to be a presenter, or I want to present. So that's how it just went on.
But 6 or 7 months is pretty quick for someone who's new to the industry, right? I mean, that's pretty quick, right? Sandeep, what about you? I mean, did it take you as long as 6 or 7 months to stand up in front of people? Or, I mean, come on.
So mine was like just you mentioned, like right out of the college, I started working, and so the Null Delhi chapter was specifically, the group was dormant and nothing was happening. So Asim, who you know is a common friend, and he happened to be in Delhi at that time, so he sent out a mail on the mailing list that we are looking to kind of restart this chapter. So anyone who is just interested, just show up at this, like there was a maker space, just show up there and we'll see what to do next. Then he said, then we were like, I kind of volunteered and said, like, again, just like Vandana, I said, like, I'll just talk about something like things that have happened in the past month in the InfoSec space, and just go a bit technical there. Uh, I went up there and I was scared, of course, because it was my first time. But there were only like 5 or 6 people who had showed up. And Asim had his own, like, there was a way of getting intimidated from Asim, because he was like the founder of the Null community. He was pretty well known in the space at that time. And I was like, he's quite well known. If I do some mistake, like he may not like it, or others may not like it. They might point it out. Okay, and my career will end before it's starting, and things like that. So, but I said, like, okay, that's fine. Let me just go and talk. Like, there's nothing. I mean, And the best part of it, which we kind of talked a bit earlier as well, is that inspiring and encouraging people. I went and spoke in front of 5, 6 people, and they were so polite and humble in terms of like receiving the content. I'm dead sure I may have made like 1 or 2 mistakes here and there. They were never, kind of pointing out in a way that would make me feel a bit demotivated and things like that. But and they were quite encouraging, and that set the stage. Immediately that day, Asim kind of said that those guys who had come up said that we want rookie volunteers to start the chapter, and the word rookie kind of stayed with me. And because I said that I'm a rookie, I want to do things. Okay, so and we started the chapter, and after that, until like I think I remember for the next 6 months, every time I had to go on stage just to kind of introduce or just to talk about the chapter, every time I would be scared, and it gradually kept decreasing. And that's what I say to young speakers and everyone who start in the community, that it won't go in on the first day. It would gradually decrease. The more you face people, the more you do an eye contact, the more you talk about things, it'll kind of gradually, and so it gradually decreased for me as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to get cranky for about 3 or 4 days before I was talking.
Yeah.
Because I start getting apprehensive, and
Yeah.
now, if I'm talking at 1/2 past the hour, at 27 minutes past the hour, I'm making a cup of tea in the kitchen, thinking, "Oh, I still got 3 minutes." So, it's
Yeah.
it's a very, very different scenario at the moment.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So. There's a phrase I'm using on series 1, which is everybody's got a book to sell. By which I mean, by coming on here and doing me the honor of talking with me and imparting your knowledge, you get to talk about something that you're trying to sell or promote or whatever. So I'm imagining there's going to be some kind of conference coming up, maybe BSides, I don't know, but maybe you want to talk about, do either of you want to talk about something that is on its way that you'd like to promote to our audience?
So yeah, not immediately, but like you said, so right now the most of my involvement is with BSides Delhi, and this year we might be doing it like virtual or physical. In person, we've not yet decided because the COVID situation kind of evolves every day. But if we do it, it will be in like October/November anytime.
Yeah.
And we want to talk about it because we want like more speakers, more like participants throughout the world. We want to make it like a local yet global event. We want to focus on both the local aspects and the global aspects of the event. So we'll be opening up the CFP soon. Anyone who is interested, just go to bsidesdelhi.in or just follow BSides Delhi on Twitter, and you'll have all the updates as they'll flow.
Great. We'll put those details in the show notes as well. Yeah. Vandana, anything that you want to, any event or something you want to promote? Or maybe you do have a book that's coming out. I don't know.
Oh, no.
You probably do. You probably do. Come on. What else surely you've got some time to squeeze in writing a book, right?
Yeah.
No. But I am for sure doing OWASP Spotlight series, wherein there are so many or I would say open source projects which are there, which people are not aware about. So I'm trying to bring or throw some light on them and doing the Spotlight series on my channel. And there are over 14 projects which have been covered till now, and many more to come. So if you want to know more about what are the open source projects and how you can get benefited out of it, you can just go ahead and just check it out.
Excellent. Thank you very much indeed. So let's draw to a close. I'd like to thank you both. Vandana, thank you so much for squeezing us into your extraordinarily busy schedule. And Sandeep, thank you for squeezing us into your slightly less extraordinarily busy schedule, especially compared to, everybody's just lazy compared to Vandana, right?
Vandana,
yes. But thank you both so much for your time. And folks, thank you all for listening. This was episode 4 of season 1 of S1 Tom Chat. Thank you for listening.
In the next episode, Tom chats with the hosts of Smashing Security, the second most popular InfoSec podcast, Carol Thuriot and Graham Clew.
I know what you're going to do. I'm not telling you.
I'll just be back in 1 minute. Just be back in 1 minute.
Okay. I think let's just pause there.
Okay.
We might have to go through that one again.
Yeah, I think so. Are you getting
Yeah,
sun, Tom?
it's getting warmer. Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
It's getting nicer. It's getting warmer, which is good.
Okay.
Definitely needed, and it's also getting lighter in the evenings, and the birds are singing more, and all that sort of stuff. So it's quite nice. It feels spring like.
And things have
Feels
opened
like
up as well, right, in UK? Like shops and
as of
restaurants.
today, they've opened up a little bit, so you can go to a restaurant if you eat outside.
Okay.
Non-essential shops have opened, so there's still quite strong restrictions. We've got another 2 phases to go
Okay.
before things open up fully. But I've had my first vaccine. I've got my second one on May 15th.
Which one did you get? The Pfizer one?
No, the AstraZeneca.
Okay.
AstraZeneca. So, yeah, no blood clots, thankfully.
Yeah, I got my parents as well the first dose, and they were just like fine. Yeah, I think their second jab is just coming up next week. So yeah, so far.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, when did they get the first one?
First week of April. No, March. Sorry, April we are in. So
okay.
the second jab, I think we're getting in 6 weeks. They're getting like 5 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, sounds about right. This is homeschooling.
Yeah. Yeah.
We should have included this. This would have been brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is life as it currently is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it sums up, Vandana. She will balance and juggle everything.
Yeah, that's one of the best things that I actually want to kind of highlight, and especially with her is like you work, you have to take care of the kids as well, you look after family as well, and there's like a lot to juggle, and that's the beauty of like whole wall in. It's kind of interesting. Yep.
I am so sorry.
I guess she's back.
No, not at all, Vandana. We're just saying that actually we'll include a clip of that if you don't mind, but because that just sums up not only life at the moment, but you're doing everything, absolutely everything. So I'm going to start that segment again. I can't even remember how I actually began it, but I think it was. So we'd met, etc. And I know. So